Good evening, glory, hallelujah to you. What the heck's your story and what's going through you? Welcome to the glorified version of a bass fishing talk show. I'm your host, Pat Renwick, and here we are another Wednesday night. This is Straycast, and holy shnikes, ladies and gentlemen, my childhood hero, Bill Dance, joins us live tonight here on the glorified version of a bass fishing talk show, Straycast. Freaking out. It's our guy. Well, the sun is just, you know the song. I mean, come on. Everybody. It made everybody feel good. Also, special top secret in-studio guest at the end of the show. You're not gonna believe that one. So Bill Dance in top secret surprise cameo in studio guest tonight. It's going to freak you out. On with the show. I want to remind everybody, hey, of course, Wednesday nights is the place to win stuff in the bass fishing galaxy. And right here on Straycast tonight, the good people over at Power Pole, you know, Kurt Hill over at Power Pole. Give it up for Power Pole. We Power Pole down for pleasure around here. You know what I'm saying. That's right. Put the Power Poles down. That's right. Hey, Kurt Hill and the good people at Power Pole, in honor of old Bill coming on the show tonight, giving away no, not Power Poles. Stop that. They're giving away a Power Pole fun bag. That's right, a Power Pole fun bag. Woo! 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 That's how we do it. Woo! Ashley Schaefer. Woo! Right there. Power Pole fun bag, equivalent to $50 worth of garb. All you got to do is like and share this live Facebook feed. Like and share the live Facebook feed, and at the end, during the show, Bill Dance is going to announce the winner. That's right, the Power Pole giveaway. Like and share. Billy Dance is giving you some goodies. Compliments of Power Pole and Kurt Hill tonight. Wait, there's more. Bite Me Tackle. Everybody knows about getting the lead out. Brad Zellers and the good people over at Bite Me Tackle. They're giving away 50 bones worth of terminal tackle tonight. Give it up for Brad Zellers tonight. Yes. And Bite Me Tackle. Another chance. Like and share the live Facebook feed. And at the end of the show, Jake Haas, our intern, he's going to pop in and tell you who won. While we're at it here, look at this. There's an amazing contest going on by these people on my shirt, Omnia Fishing. And Omnia is quickly becoming the choice for e-commerce store for the online purchases in the Bassin Galaxy. And guess what the contest they have right now is? Go to their Facebook, go to their Instagram, and they got a contest going where you get to go shopping with Seth Feider. That's right. Go shopping with Seth. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. You get like $5K worth of, it's you and a bud. It's 2 buds. I think you each get to, you get to bring a bud and go shopping with Seth. Right, Chinch?
That's correct. Yeah, 5 each.
Yeah, $5K each on Omnia. They fly you into Minnesota, the home of the llama. And you go shopping with Seth. He's gonna mostly tell you to like pick out Outcast stuff. I can see it now. Oh, get that Rapala, get that Outcast. This is a great Daiwa reel. You know what he does. But anyway, check out the good folks over at OmniaFishing.com. And speaking of giveaways, right now, if you go to the real Proper Bassin Man Facebook page, in case you haven't heard. Yeah, that's right. You got that right. The real Proper Bassin Men, and that's the space, proper space, Bassin space, men space.
No dashes.
No dashes, no words together. There's people already trying to improper us.
Never ask for.
But get this, Matthew Robertson, La Flama Blanca, Onum Fishing is giving away Onum Tin Cup hats. Yes, the ever so coveted Tin Cup Edition Onum hats. Go over to the Proper Bassin Men Facebook page. Not now. Don't wait. Do it later, after the show. right, Ginge?
Yeah.
After the show. Yeah, go there and check that out and share that around, and we'll see you Sunday night for the world for the world premiere of The Proper Bassin' Men, The Adventures of, yes, with Matthew Robertson, Seth Fighter, and myself. Hey, thank you, Crestliner, for helping the Bass Galaxy. Derek Taylor, you won the brand new John Cox Signature MX-19. Your life changed, buddy. That's true. That's true. You were one of the 16 gazillion entrants for the Crestliner MX-19 giveaway, and you won. You won, Derek Taylor. He sounds like a ball player. Doesn't Derek Taylor sound like a ball
Definitely
player?
does.
You know what I mean? You know who's a real baller, by the way? And I'm just going to say it. Our very own punk rock producer, Andrew Ellenberger, the Ginger Ninja. Yeah, see how I did that, Gingy? I weaved it right in. I was trying to trick you, and you were ready. You were ready, Ginge.
I wasn't going there.
Hey, Ginge, our hero Bill Dance is coming on tonight. Did you hear?
It's surreal.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You guys are besties. I know you guys were having a kind of conversation earlier. And thank you to Pamela and Bill Jr. for all the help, too, that they give on this. And, Ginge, as you know, like and share the live Facebook feed. Chance to win a Power Pole fun pack, and also the Bite Me live Facebook giveaway tonight. Like and share.
It's Hunterhead season.
But here's the deal. Every Wednesday night we do another thing, and it's called the Tin Cup Word of the Week, Ginge. The Tin Cup Word of the Week is obviously, yes, remember, drink responsibly. Dance. Dance is the word of the week. Anytime you hear dance, be careful. That's right. You could have a sip of tin cup whiskey, or you can have a drink, a nice cold Coca-Cola, whatever your beverage of choice is. But please drink responsibly. And when you hear the word dance, take a sip on us, Straight Cast and Tin Cup Whiskey. Moving right along, EmpireCovers.com. Any type of cover for any situation, whether it's a boat, whether it's a grill, whether it's they even have house covers. Yeah, house covers. EmpireCovers.com. Put in code StrayCast. It's going to get you a significant savings on anything. They got you covered, and we got you covered at StrayCast. I like that. Ginge, I feel like I'm in like a 70s sitcom right now. But not, I'm walking on air, and then I'm going to Empire Carpets. Covers. Carpet covers. Hey, Half a Spot Official. The official place for online derbs this month. You can fish against the one and only Jersey Devil, Michael Iconelli. Go to Half a Spot on Instagram and Half a Spot on Facebook and download the Half a Spot official app. Fish online now. Chance to win a grand prize trip to fish against some of the greats of the business on Lake Gunnersville in October. HalfASpotOfficial.com. Check out Half a Spot. Yeah, there it is. Wow. Thanks. And how? All right, we're moving it right along. I think I got just about everything. Ginge, right?
Yeah,
I do. Before we get to the to Bill Dance, our featured guest of the evening, I want to remind everybody you're starting to see some products available to the public again because of this crazy Rona stuff. And one of the deals I suggest you get your hands on is the Revo EXD, if you can. And either are left. But the real one, here's the gem. Right now. The Zeta. Yeah. The Zeta is the deal. The Zeta, if you can get them. They're the best reel going right now. Ask Hank Cherry. He'll tell you. Hey, I'm Pat Renwick. Put the power poles down. Don't go anywhere. When we get back, it's Bill Dance. Bill Dance. Yeah, let's go. Here we go.
This is the mountain, and this is mountain whiskey. Unspoiled, untamed, forever wild. There's no safety net, no way down. Up here, it's just man, and the mountain, and his tin cup. Tin Cup Whiskey. Mountain Whiskey.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from PowerPole that does the work of 3 devices: a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. PowerPole Charge.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, buddy.
You take pride in your boat, so it deserves the best protection possible. Our durable woven fabric prevents ripping and provides UV protection, and our tape seams provide protection against the elements. The heavy-duty shock cord hem and strap and buckle system provide a tight and secure fit. Our top-of-the-line boat covers come with a ventilation system to keep your boat free from mold buildup. Empire Covers, protecting what you love.
The TH Marine HydroWave H2 KVD Edition is a surefire way to ignite a feeding frenzy. The HydroWave utilizes a sound-emitting technology that imitates bait fish and other feeding fish below the surface that preys on the competitive nature of bass and other game fish to get you more bites. The HydroWave is another way that TH Marine has you covered from transom to trolling motor.
Welcome back. This is the glorified version of a Bass and Talk Show. I'm your host, Pat Renwick, and I want to remind everybody, like and share this live Facebook feed right now for a chance to win the Power Pole Fun Bag. And right now, it is a great honor and privilege for me to bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear that song right there, you know it means one thing. It's the one and only Dr. William George Dance. Yes. Yes. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Bill.
How you doing, Pat? Good to talk to you again, Pat. How you doing?
I'm doing good, too, Bill. It's great to hear your voice, man. Say hello to the Bass Galaxy.
Well, hello, everybody. It's good to talk to you again.
So where are you? Where are you at right now, Bill?
I'm in Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm in God's country.
There you go. Okay. I like how you put that. And you're feeling you're feeling good, Bill. Yeah, I can tell you sound great.
Oh, absolutely. Everything's going great. Thank the good Lord. We've had a good year, a good winter. It started off in Florida. We've worked our way back. We've done quite a bit this spring. We've had our tackle shows that we've worked. We had the Bassmasters Classic. we've done some special projects this year. We've had some great things come our way.
You sure have. You
we-
sure have. There's
we
no
really
doubt.
have. We've been mighty blessed, and we're way ahead with our outdoor programming with the Sportsman Channel and the Outdoor Channel with our freshwater and our saltwater stuff. So we're doing real well.
That's perfect. Perfect. Bill.
Family's healthy, and so we've got a lot to be blessed with.
100%. And Bill, you've always said that, and I bring this up every time, just like your old buddy Jerry McInnes always used to say to me too. Everything happens for a reason in life, and
Absolutely.
And things are happening for you as they're supposed to this year, Bill. I mean, first off the bat, let us congratulate you on your honorary doctorate. I mean, unreal, Doctor.
Well,
Bill Dance.
I was absolutely astonished and very, very proud. It was a very, very, very prestigious award to receive that, especially from the University of Tennessee, and to receive that big honor. With a lot of my major sponsors were there at the University of Tennessee and my family, most importantly, all my family was there. Many of our state officials were there. One of our major sponsors, University of Tourism, who has been one of our Tennessee Tourism has been one of our major sponsors for years.
Yes, sir.
They were there. Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency people were there. Of course, my dear, dear friend Johnny Morris with Bass Pro Shops has always attended every single thing that I've been involved with. He was there to cheer me on, and my family, a lot of other sponsors were there. It was just words can't really describe.
What a great thing!
It's just somebody said, "Well, what?" I remember the night we had a big banquet, and I think one of the chancellors or the president of the university made the statement. He said, "What does it feel like to accept an award like this?" And I said, it's very, very difficult to express a feeling. I said, let me put it to you this way. I just stuck a fish hook in my thumb. Did you feel it? And I said, no, you didn't feel it because it didn't happen to you. You can't express a feeling unless it just instantly happened to you.
Wow.
You can feel my excitement to a degree, or you can see my excitement, but you cannot actually feel what I feel unless you're actually experiencing it at that moment. And it's like burning your finger or sticking a fish hook in your finger at that exact moment. You have to be within me to actually feel what I'm feeling at this moment.
Well put.
So it's very, very hard to express a feeling, but I can tell you, it's a wonderful, warm feeling to be able to accept an award that only 20 people
Wow.
have accepted in 200 years. So it's very, 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 very rewarding. So
So great, and your family's
that
so
said-
proud of you too for all that. There's no doubt. I know for a fact that they're so proud of you, Bill, for all that.
Oh, they were. When I look at my wife and I saw that smile on her face, it was very, very special meaning. So it was great. So being a doctor, my daddy was a doctor. My granddaddy, my great granddaddy, for 5 generations back were doctors.
Yeah.
When he said, "How does it feel to be a doctor?" Well, I can tell you how to put a Band-Aid on, and I can tell you how to take 2 aspirins. That's about the extent of it.
You know how to doctor them bass, though, don't you, Bill? I mean, that's for sure.
Well, I think I can take a hook out of one of them. I've done that a few times.
Just a couple times. Just a couple times. Hey, again,
Right.
talk about feelings, okay? Of course,
Right.
again, congratulations on this doctorate there from the Herbert College of Agriculture. Amazing thing, University of Tennessee. But I want to tell you something else, Bill, that's pretty amazing, or we think that is pretty amazing, is that there is a hit song about you right now. I mean, come on, man. Luke Bryan comes out and just busts out a #1 hit with Bill Dance. How is that feel to you?
Luke is quite a guy. I was at the Wonders in Arkansas, actually in Missouri, at Springfield, when Luke was there on stage with Tracy Bird and a lot of entertainers and a lot of great country songwriters.
Yes, sir.
And they were up on the stage, and I was backstage, just walking around, and I was visiting with John Anderson. And John said, "Your buddy's up on the stage." And I said, "Who?" And he said, "Luke Bryan." And I said, "Well, I'd be doggone. I didn't even know Luke was going to be here." And I walked down to the edge of the
Name
stage,
dropper.
and Dallas Davison, who writes so many great hits for Blake Shelton and so many country entertainers, and has written so much stuff for Luke, was standing there. And I in fact, I did a show, one of my fishing shows. I did with Dallas Davison, and he was standing there, and I walked up and I said, "Dallas, I didn't even know y'all were going to be here." And he said, yeah, we're here. We're invited. What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I've been here. Johnny invited us over for this big Wonders. In fact, Johnny and I have been in Florida catching some of these big grouper that were released into the aquariums, and some of the tropical fish that we released into the aquariums here. We went down and fished 5 days, and the FWC, Florida Wildlife Commission, allowed us to bring some back. They put them in quarantine for about 3 weeks, and then the fishery people here at work for Bass Pro transported them back and put them into the big aquariums here at Bass Pro Shops. And he said, "Well, your buddy's up there on the stage. They're going to be singing in a minute. And do you know that he wrote a song about you?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, he wrote a song about you." And I said, "Oh, get out of here." He said he did. He said, "Bill, I'm serious."
You thought they were pulling your leg?
Yeah. And I said, "Are you serious, Dallas?" He said, "Yeah, I'm serious." And Dallas has written at that time, Dallas had written 17 #1 hits.
Wow.
And he said, "This is a great song." And I said, "What's the title of it?" He said, "Bill Dance."
Bill Dance.
And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Really?" He said he's going to sing it in about 2 or 3 songs right from here. Now he'll be singing it. And I said, "No joke." He said, "No joke." So the audience was full of people. It was just, everybody was there. The Jimmy Carter was there.
Wow.
George Bush was there. Johnny had everybody and his brother there.
Holy
And,
smokes.
Yeah, and so I stood down there with Dallas, and he said, "It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. Just get ready, Bill. It's coming up." And so the first time that Luke had ever tried to sing it, he said he told a story about me coming to his lake and fishing and doing a show with Dallas. And he was on a tour bus and got the idea. He and Red Akins and Dallas and all of them riding down the road and talking about on the tour bus, and said, "I want to write a song about Bill Dance." And they all got together and started picking, and they came up with the song. And I really like the song. It's not just
a great
because it's Bill
song.
Dance. They did a fabulous job on that song.
I mean, it
But
gets
anyway,
you. It gets you.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And he he started singing it. He said, "Wait a minute, I forgot the words. Wait a minute, let me start that over." And he started over, and he sang it. And when he finished it, I got up and walked across the stage, and I walked straight over to Luke, and he took his mic off, and he jumped up and ran over, and I hugged him, and
Wow.
I just said, "Golly, man, I can't believe you did this." And he said, "Well, you're my buddy, and I wanted to do something for you." I said, "Golly, boy, you couldn't do anything. I've never had anybody do something so nice for me. That somebody write a song about you. That's stronger than 100 acres of fresh cut garlic." And
That's
I said,
amazing.
That's powerful stuff. And so anyway, 2 weeks ago, he and Johnny Morris and Kevin Van Dam and I were all over at Luke's place, and we did a music essay. And that song should be released in another week or so. So you might kind of watch for it.
Absolutely.
Watch for the music essay. I think it's about 4.5 minutes, the music essay, and it's really good. The editors and the producers really did a great job on it. So we did that over at Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, over at Luke's place.
Very cool.
And,
very cool. That's coming out soon, Bill? When's that? That's the vid?
It's neat. The what?
When's that coming out?
In another week or so.
Gotcha.
We talked to him about a couple of days ago, and I think secretary said that Luke's manager said it should be out in another week or so.
There you go. And I mean, that's just a perfect example, Bill, of how important you are to the history of bass fishing and to the entire bass fishing galaxy. And a guy like Luke Bryan to write a song about you that conveys that message. I know you've been told it a zillion times, but you have gotten so many people into fishing that the energy that comes your way must be overwhelming, Bill. That's all I gotta say. You're such a contributor to the history of bass fishing. It's gotta be overwhelming sometimes.
Oh, I appreciate it. I've just when we started Bill Dance Outdoors, over 50 years ago.
Wow. I remember.
We've been doing it a long, long time ago. Of course, I remember the days, with Jim Bagley
Yes,
down
sir.
at Winter Haven, Florida. You worked for him at that time.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Way back in those days. And the one thing that there was a person, and I don't know, many people probably won't remember him. The old timers will remember him. But Liberty Mutual sponsored a fisherman called Gadabout Gaddis.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember
I
him
do
or
not. No, I don't. Say his name one more time,
But
please.
Gadabout Gaddis.
Gadabout
And
Gaddis.
he was the first television fisherman.
Wow.
And he was sponsored by Liberty Mutual, a national non-endemic sponsor. And Gad flew around the country and did fishing shows. And he reminds you, if you looked at him, he looked like Colonel Sanders.
That's awesome.
He did. He looked like Colonel Sanders chicken. But he did in the face. He was a gentle, sweet, soft-spoken old man.
Okay.
And I met him. And in fact, when Ray Scott started BASS, we did seminars, and he had Ged on a couple of seminars. And I remember in the Houston Music Hall, I did a meet and greet and a seminar with Gadabout Gaddis. And he told me something. He said, the one thing you always, I should always remember, Bill, as long as you do TV, you want to teach your viewer something. Never forget that.
Okay.
And no matter how silly
you
think it might be, or how how small you might think it is, it may be major to them. How simple tying a hook on might mean to you, it may be a major thing to them. So never look at something silly. Always look at, if a way to catch a fish, teach your viewers how to fish, and never forget that. And always remember, more
Very
fish
nice.
come in this size. He held his two little fingers together. He said, remember, more fish come in this size than in this size. So you be as proud of that little bitty fish as if it was this big.
Okay.
And held his fingers. But I never forgot that, and that has always been the strength of Bill Dance Outdoors and Bill Dance Saltwater, is not how many fish we can catch in 30 minutes of television, but more so to try to teach something. And the educational aspect of the show, I've always said, when you can entertain and educate at the same time, you've got the best part of both worlds.
100%.
And I never forgot what Gadabout said about the teaching aspect of it. And you mentioned our old buddy Jerry McInnes.
Yes, sir.
Old Jerry was a good friend. I mean, a good friend. And we lost Jerry last year. And I wouldn't be doing television today had it not been for Jerry. I worked with Jerry, and we traveled together. We fished tournaments together. We roomed together back in those early days when we traveled and competed in tournaments. I didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have a lot of money. And so we shared rooms together when we fished tournaments, and we practiced tournaments together. But Jerry was doing a local show in Indiana, I think, called The Fishing Hole. And you remember that?
Oh, I do. That's a little show he did, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, it absolutely was. But Jerry was a good teacher, and he taught me a lot. And when I went to work for Cotton Cordell in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Cotton made so many great fishing lures back in those early days. And
yes, sir.
Cotton said, we need a fishing show. And I said, yeah, I got the perfect guy to do it. And he said, who's that? And I said, Jerry McInnes. He said, no, I've got somebody else in mind, Bill. And I said, who's that? And he said, you. And I thought, good night. I said, me doing a fishing show is like pouring perfume on a pig. I said, Cotton, I can't even spell television. He said, well, you better learn.
Wow.
And that's when we started.
Get to it.
That's when we started a local show at the ABC affiliate in Memphis. And so that's where Bill Dance Outdoors was. That's where we started our beginning.
2,000 plus episodes, Bill. 2,000 plus episodes. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, we've done a lot more than that.
Okay.
They did that. Of course, we've been doing. I'd like to know just how many we've done. They figured that up years ago, and that's what they put in our bio, 2,000. But I know it's.
You've probably done 1,000 more since then. Probably done 1,000 more.
I believe so. So
hey, I want to ask you.
Done.
I want to ask you, Bill.
Sure.
And we'll get back to the TV show, but I want to get a little deeper with you, okay? And I kind of want to get back to the early days of Bill Dance, and maybe let's call it the spawn of Bill Dance, okay?
Sure.
So I need you to completely relax, Bill. All right. So I need you to open your mind. Are you ready? And
I'll try.
And
sure.
we're actually going to hypnotize you. Have you ever been hypnotized on a talk show before?
Well, I think I have. Well, go ahead.
You've done enough of these. Well, Bill, I want you to go to your happy place, and I want you to go back and think about the time when you first got into bass fishing, okay? And everybody knows, as youngsters, when we get into bass fishing, that there's that magical moment where we first fool a bass on an artificial bait.
I can remember that vividly.
Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
Well, I can remember what kick-started Bill Dance's career.
Tell me.
I grew up and spent a lot of my time in a little bitty town in Middle Tennessee called Lynchburg. And Lynchburg is in Moore County. the smallest county in our state. And Lynchburg had a population of 399 people. But it was the home of Jack Daniels.
Yes,
Jack
sir.
Daniels Distillery.
Yeah.
And Moore County was a dry county.
Interesting.
But there was a little creek that meandered its way right along the property line of Jack Daniels Distillery, and it made a turn, and probably the spring where Jack Daniel got the good cold waters to help make their whiskeys came out of 10-Yard Hill. And Mulberry Creek meandered its way, and some of the spring waters that flowed from the spring there at the distillery and the springs from 10-Yard Hill flowed into Mulberry Creek. And Mulberry Creek was a clear creek. And a good baseball pitcher, could probably stand on my grandmother's front porch and throw a baseball
Nice.
from her front porch into Mulberry Creek.
Right to the creek.
Into the creek.
That's
right.
awesome.
And that's where I really learned a lot about fishing, moving water. And my granddaddy, was a doctor, and he taught me more about fish anatomy than he did about technique.
Interesting.
But I learned quite a bit about technique, but I learned a lot about anatomy, how fish see, how fish hear, and wading up the creek. Always wade up current, where the debris and the off-colored water would float behind me. And to be careful, try to wade where there was sand or a soft bottom, and not into the gravel where it would make rackets. And to watch my shadow. The sound was very critical. And to watch movement in clear water, because fish could see exceptionally well in clear water.
Sure.
And he taught me little bitty things about anatomy, and he taught me these little things, and not as much about presentation. But he fished live bait more than he did artificial. But anyway, back in those days, Pat, we didn't have Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's. We didn't have those type stores.
Right.
The only places you could buy fishing tackle, terminal tackle, sinkers, hooks, fishing line, or fishing lures was in a hardware store.
Yeah.
And in Lynchburg, there was a hardware store called Motlow's Hardware. And a fellow by the name of Connor Motlow owned the hardware store. Hap Motlow had the bank, and Rager Motlow was the proprietor of the distillery. So I used to wade, of course, the creek, and I knew the Motlows well. And, of course, my granddaddy knew them all. He doctored them all, the Motlows, and everybody there in a little bit more county.
Everybody knew the Motlows.
And, yeah. And I would go in to Connor's store, and I would look through a glass case. And there was one particular bait that caught my eye. And Clayton Tosh ran the store for him. And I was young at the time. I was six or 7 years old.
Wow.
And I'd look in that case, and I said, Tosh, everybody called him Tosh. I said, Tosh, I know. Let me get it out for you. And he'd slide the shelf back, and he'd reach in the case, and he'd lay that bait up on the counter. And I said, can I touch it? He said, yeah, take it out of the box. And I'd take it out of the box, and I'd look at it, and I'd hold it in my hand, and I'd touch it. It was the prettiest bass lure I'd ever seen. And I'd give it back to him. He said, when are you going to buy that lure? And I said, I don't know, but one of these days I'm going to buy it, so don't sell it. And he'd get a big kick out of it, and he'd put it back in the box and put it back in the counter. A day or two later, I'd come up from the creek, heading back behind the bank. My grandmother's house was right behind the bank, Farmer's Bank. I'd go by that hardware store. I said, Tosh, I'll lose that bait again.
Every day.
And he knew when I walked in the store what I wanted to see.
Get that bait out.
The bait. Well, anyway, that little town would close at dinner. we called lunchtime dinner.
Yeah.
And supper times was supper.
Yeah.
Well, the town on Wednesdays would close at noon, and everybody would close their business, and many folks would go play golf. Some would go on a picnic. Some would do yard work. But Granddaddy and Grandmother and I would go to the creek.
Gotcha.
But this day, I ran in the house, and she said, "You better be here by 11:30, because we had dinner at 11:30 every day." She said, "I think your Granddaddy's want to go to the lake today." And I said, "What lake?"
Wow.
And she said, "I don't know. I think he's talking about going up toward Tullahoma, which is just up the road, up to Cumberland Springs Lake." And I said, "Oh my goodness, I'll get out. I can try out my casting rod." And I had a True Temper metal rod
Yeah.
with a little Shakespeare 1940 reel on it with braided line,
I've seen them.
section of catgut that we call monofilament today.
Catgut. Yes, sir.
And she said, I said, "You think we're going there?" And she said, "I think that's where he said we might go today." And I said, and she'd always carry a quilt. She'd sit on the quilt and crochet. Granddaddy would throw out and eat bottom fish for red ears, big red ears, with red wigglers, red worms. And so I said, "You really think that's where he's going?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Doggone it." She said, "What?" And she knew. She just looked at me, and I was about
She knew what
7
you were
years
up to.
old.
Yeah.
She said, "Wait a minute. Where are you going?" I said, I'm gonna go look at my casting rod and be sure it's in good shape." She said, "Wait a minute. Come here." And she reached in her apron, and she pulled out a handkerchief. And she had a couple of knots in it, and she untied the knots. And back then, a lot of old country people kept their change in a handkerchief.
Okay.
And she untied that handkerchief, and she reached in and she said, "Open your hand." And she put a quarter in it. She reached in there and got the second quarter. She reached in and she put 3 quarters in and she said, "Go up there at Motlow's Hardware and buy you that plug, that bug bait you wanted."
Wow.
And
Holy
I said,
cow, Bill.
"Are you serious?" She said, "Go get it." And I tell you what,
You freaked out.
I looked like Spider-Man. I went out that door, and I rounded the Farmer's Bank, and I was in Motlow Hardware quicker than a minute could jump a dipper, and in that store. And I said, Tosh. He said, "You ready to buy that bait, ain't you?" I said, "I'm ready to buy it." He said, "Let me get it out for you." And he said, "Oh, May, I think I sold it." I said, "What?" And then he started laughing.
He's
And he
messing
said, "I
with
got
you.
it." He just started chuckling. He said, "Oh, I got it for you." And he handed it to me. He said, "Normally this bait sells for 75 cents. He says, but you've handled it so much, you about wore off the paint. You wore the paint off of it. So just give me 50 cents for it."
Wow.
And I said, so I bought it. And that bait is still sold today. The same color, the same size. In fact, Bass Pro asked me to do a show on it a couple of years ago. Not that particular bait.
Really?
but
What's the
one
bait?
just like
What is it, Bill? What's the bait?
And it's an arbogast jitterbug, frog colored jitterbug.
Oh my goodness, the old frog jitterbug.
That's it. And
Wow.
I took that plug and I tied it on. I was happier than a rabbit in a lettuce patch. I took off and I ran to Grandmother and I said, "This is it. Look at it." She said, "Well, what is that thing?" I said, "That is the bait. That is it." And she said, "Well, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen." I said, "No, boy, Grandmother, that is it." And so we got up to Cumberland Springs. She spread it out her quilt. She took 2 double colas, tied a little cord stringer around them, and pitched them in the lake to keep them cool. and Granddaddy fired his two poles out, and that little old 2 sticks for a fork, and he later propped his rods up. And I walked down the lake bank a little bit through a little old thicket out on a point. Now this changed my whole direction in life. This one moment, and when I walked out on this point, I looked to my right, and I said, "Look, boy, I can't believe what I'm looking at. Here's about a 2.5 pound bass swimming in this crystal clear water,
Crazy.
and there's about a 1.5 pound bass swimming just under him." And I went, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe what I'm looking
It's a
at."
dream come true.
I'm shaking. I could have eaten a bowl of soup. I could never have gotten a spoon up to my mouth. I was shaking so hard.
Oh, Lord.
And I took that rod and I went, wickety, 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 wick. I started making false casts. And I went, boom, I fired the bait out. Well, I made a pretty fair cast, and I missed where I was trying to cast by 20 feet. And the fish continued to swim in the direction that I threw the bait.
Wow.
I mean, they were going that way anyway.
Going to get
But
you.
my bait, instead of hitting right out in front of them, it hit about 20 feet in front of them. But what amazed me, both of them stopped when the lure hit the water. And I can see this. I can see it. I can see it today, just like I saw it then. And both of those fish stopped when that lure hit the water. And the first thing that flashed through my mind, they heard it. They heard that bait hit the water.
Yeah.
And I said, "Granddaddy's right. Fish can hear." I said, "He's right. Those fish can hear."
Yeah.
And so I just sat there and watched the lure on top of the water, and I watched the fish, and they just sat there. And I turned the handle on the reel and started moving it. And when I started moving it, both fish started in the direction of the lure. And I said, "I know they can't see it. They hear it. They're hearing this plug." And I was just absolutely amazed. And so I stopped it, and they stopped. I'd start the plug, and they'd start. I'd stop, they'd stop. I'd start, they'd start. I'd stop, they'd stop. And I said, they can hear this. They can hear it. And finally, I stopped it 3 or 4 times, and they'd stop, and I'd start it. And when I'd start it, they'd start. And he always said the bigger fish is going to be the most aggressive. And it was. The bigger fish was in front of the smaller fish. And all of a sudden, they were within 4 feet of the plug. And you could have cracked a walnut between my kneecaps. I was sitting there just shaking and watching, experiencing. I could see everything taking place. And I started reeling the plug again, the jitterbug, and the jitterbug goes, blah, 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 blah. You know how that pop, that sound it makes. It has such an inviting sound.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the 2-pounder just 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet away. It just crashes it. It just crushes it.
Smoke it.
Foam comes flying in there and just hit that bait. And when it hit it, I just sat back and start reeling. I don't even know if I set the hook. I just pull the rod up and I just start reeling like crazy. Well, when I did, the pounder tried to run up and he's fighting to try to get the plug too. Even though, although that plug is in the 2.5 pounder's mouth, the pound and a half, the smaller fish is trying to get it too. And I said, "Good night. Look at this." And I can see all this in this crystal clear water. It's like looking in your bathtub. I mean, I could just see like looking in an aquarium.
Gin
you just
clear.
see everything going on.
It's like a Bass Pro Shop.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking, good night. Look what's going on here. And I mean, I am so excited. Words can't describe. And I said, "Golly Moses!" And I keep reeling. And I get this fish about 8 feet from the bank, and it starts going, and I just let the reel thumb in it. It doesn't have a drag system. I just let it thumb.
Sure.
I'm thumbing it, and he goes, brrr, and the handle's backing up, and I start
smacking
reeling
your
again.
knuckles.
And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I just threw the rod over my shoulder and I grabbed the line and I well roped him up on the bank. I well roped him.
You just went.
And when I got him up on the bank, yeah, I did. I well roped him up the bank. And I said, golly Moses, look what I've got. And I look, and the other one is sitting right out here in the water about 6 feet away. And I got this one, and I got the plug out of his mouth, and I got a hold of him. I got a death grip on him. And I left fingerprints in his mouth. And I took off running through the bushes, and I'm screaming. And I ran. My granddaddy thought, the boy's been snake bit. Something's wrong. What's happened? I ran up. I said, look what I got. Look what I caught. And my grandmother says, and I bet he caught it on that ugly bait. And I said, I did, but it's not an ugly bait. And Granddaddy says, oh my goodness, look at that. Look what that boy has caught. And Grandmother says, my, mercy me. You know, she was an old woman and she never got excited about much. And Granddaddy said, bring it over here. I said, I'm not getting anywhere close to the water with it. And Granddaddy says, well, I caught a couple of red ears. I'll bring them up there to you. And he got his stringer, and he walked up there, and it was a kind of a rope stringer. And he said, let's put it on the string. I said, no, we're not going to put it back in the water. He says, it'll be fine. Trust me. And of course, I trusted my granddaddy. I trust my granddaddy in my life.
Sure.
He said, it's going to be fine. So he put it on the stringer, and he said, I'll promise you it's not going to get away. And he took it down, he put it in the water. And I said, tie 15 knots in that stringer now.
Don't let it go nowhere. Don't let it go.
I said, Lordy B, don't lose it. Yeah. And so he said, where's your rod? And I said, I don't know. And he said, it's probably down there on that where you left it.
It's on the point.
Said, go get your rod.
It's on the point.
And I went back down there and I looked for that other one fish. I didn't find him. But I ran back up there. And I thought, I sat there a minute, and I'm thinking, it just kept constantly the replay. It replay, back up, replay, back up. You know, rewind,
Still doing it.
replay, back, rewind.
To this day.
And I went to bed. We went in to my grandmother's house, and I knelt down by the back door, and I've got that picture today. In fact, I did a book called Bass and Objects.
Yes, sir.
And that picture's in that book.
I remember it.
I went to bed that night, and I went to bed, went to sleep looking at that fish, and I've relived that fish time and time again. But to throw a phony with a big metal lip, a plastic body, 2 sets of treble hooks, and to lure that fish out of his world into mine, that was the most amazing thing. I couldn't wait. You had to send pictures. You had to take the roll out.
That's the origin of Bill Dance. Wow. That's Bill. That's it.
And they had to go to Nashville to get processed at Kodak. And you had to wait about 5 days for the pictures to come. I couldn't wait. And I flew in there to Tosh, and I said, look what that bait, look what that. Boy, and I was so happy. We had duplicates made of, the pictures, but copies made. And I said, that's what that bait, look what I caught on it. And he says, well, I be, but.
Thank you, Grandma and Grandpa. Wow.
Yeah. But you asked me a question about the one single fish. And I had caught some smallmouth in the creek wading, but nothing that would compare to that largemouth.
That's amazing. That's so great.
That was the hoop-de-doo, as Johnny Morris said.
Yeah.
It really was.
And think about it, Bill. So that right there is basically the spawn of your entire bassin career. And now let's jump ahead just a little bit. And I want to bring into the picture Bill Dance, the pro bass fisherman. Now let's go from 7-year-old Bill Dance to Bill Dance, the pro bass fisherman, and talk to me about this organization called Bass Angler Sportsman Society and a gentleman named Ray Scott. Would you?
Well, I looked at it when I first met Ray, and golly, he's done so much for bass fishing, and there's so many of us wouldn't be doing what we're doing today had it not been for Ray. I mean, Ray
100%.
just
Everybody in this room.
I say, yeah, I wouldn't be doing TV. It had been for McKenna's, but I wouldn't be doing. I had a stepping stone to get into bass fishing, and it was Ray Scott. But I got an invitation. No, I'll tell you where it was. Well, I got an invitation, but I continued to bass fish even in those younger years after I had caught that fish. When as I grew older,
Okay.
and then I was moving. I was going from Lynchburg to Memphis. When I was little, my parents separated, and my mother lived in Memphis, but I spent so much of my time, my early years, with my grandparents who lived in Lynchburg, and but I was coming back to Memphis some too as I grew older, and going to school, and but I never lost my desire to fish. I loved to fish, and then when I got older, where I could drive, I was fishing Oxbow lakes around Memphis, and then I learned to fish. I still wanted to go back to moving water, and I was fishing Pickwick Lake and the Tennessee River and bigger bodies of water.
Sure.
And
Developing.
learning. Yeah, and I was one day. I'd gotten a phone call from our outdoor editor at our big newspaper, and our outdoor writer, very well-known writer, very good writer. He was past president of the Outdoor Writers Association. He called me and he said, "Hey, are you aware of this big bass tournament that's going to take place on Beaver Lake in Arkansas?" I said, "Where's Beaver Lake?" He said, "Up in northwest Arkansas." I said, "No, I didn't know anything about it, Henry." Henry Reynolds was a writer.
Okay,
and
I got you now.
I said,
There's some history.
"No, I'm not familiar with it." And he said, "Well, this guy's name is out of Montgomery, Alabama. His name is Ray Scott." And I said, "Oh, okay." Anyway, he said he's going to be sending out invitations, and I think he wants you to participate in it. And Henry had been writing articles. I'd been fishing around Memphis, and when we'd have a good day, you know, he'd give us a write-up in the paper, and I'd gotten into wrapping fishing rods and stuff, and he did a couple of stories about that, and so that's how Ray found out about me through Henry, and so Diane and I, my wife, we went bass fishing over at Pickwick Lake, and I'd pulled out an area we call Boat Dock Holler, and I'd pulled out on the main lake, and I was fishing a point right there, channel point, and a boat comes down the lake, and they pull up, and there's a guy I knew with the Tennessee Wildlife, Tennessee Game and Fish, it called at that time, but now it's called the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, our Game and Fish Department. Had two fellows in the boat with him, and Ed Howes was our PR guy for Tennessee Wildlife at the time. He said, "Bill, I'd like to introduce you to two people here. Glenn Andrews, the best fisherman I ever met in my entire life, lived up in southern Missouri, who fished the Highland Lakes there, Table Rock and Bull Shoals and all those Highland Lakes, and Ray Scott." And I said,
Huh.
"Ray Scott." I said, "I've heard of you. Somebody was talking about you just the other day." And he said, I said, "Henry Reynolds." He said, "Yeah." "He's your outdoor writer." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "We're fixing to go below the dam and have breakfast. Won't you come join us?" And I looked at Diane. Diane says, "If you'd like to, we will. I'm hungry." I said, "Okay." And and Glenn said, "Have y'all done any good?" And I said, "Oh, we've caught a few." He said, "How deep you fishing?" And I said, "Oh, 4 or 5 feet." He said, "If you'll turn your boat and throw that way, I think you'll catch more fish." I said, "That's deep water out there." He said, "That's where they are."
That's outside.
And I said, "Do what?" He said, "That's where they are." And I said, "Out there in that deep water?" He said, "That's where they are." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Come on, let's load out and go eat some breakfast." I said, "Okay." So we went down to a place called the Botel. It was a big, big river boat that had been converted into
The
a
Botel.
Botel.
Yes, sir.
Botel. And so Ray and I started talking, and Glenn and I started talking. And he said, "It's going to be a big tournament up in my part of the country." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Have you ever fished Beaver Lake?" And I said, "No, never have." And he said, "When you come up that way, give me a call." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "In fact, I'm going to be at a boat show in Memphis in about a couple of weeks. Come by my booth." I said, "I'll do that." And he was the world champion bass fisherman, and that's the way that was his title.
The world
And he had these
champion
big-
bass fisherman. Wow.
That's what he had. And he had these big trophies.
Okay.
And so I'll never forget it. A good friend of mine who was president of the Highland 100, he was on the Liberty Bowl team selection committee, and he was real big around Memphis. I said, "I want to go." He went to the boat show in Memphis with me. Well, let me back up. I'm getting so far ahead. We went on and had breakfast, and I met with Ray, and
Okay.
he said, "I'm going to have this big tournament, and I'd like for you to participate in it." And I said, "Okay. If I can get off, if my boss will let me
Right, you
off,
got
I
to
might."
get off work.
And I thought, "Oh, there's no way they're going to let me come to that big tournament." And so anyway, I met Ray, and we had a good conversation. And then I met Glenn. Glenn started talking. He told me to meet him at that boat show in Memphis at the Coliseum. So I went and I met Glenn, and I saw all these trophies. And my buddy said, "You the world champion bass fisherman?" Glenn said, "Well, that's what they say. I've won some big tournaments out in Oklahoma and up in Missouri." And Bill said, my buddy, he was a lot older than I was. He says, "Well, how in the world can you say you're the world champion when you've never fished against me?" And
Sounds like a buddy of mine would say something like that.
And Glenn just started laughing. He was a big old, tall Southern guy, just soft spoken. And he said, "Well, you got a good point."
That's true, right?
And he says, "Who is this guy? Who is this guy, Bill?" And I said, "He's just a good friend of mine." He says, "I like this guy." And so, anyway, Glenn told me, he says, "Are you familiar with fishing clear water?" I said, "Well, Pickwick." He said, "No, Bill, I'm talking about real clear water." And I said, "No, not really. Not gin clear water." And he said, "Well, you better start learning how to fish much deeper water than you're accustomed to."
Interesting.
And he said, "Look for irregular things." I said, "What do you mean, irregular?" He said, "Just something out of the way, something different." And he said, "Get you a topo map." I said, "What's a topo map?" He said, "Boy, you got a lot to learn." And anyway, he explained what it was. And I got one. And I started looking at that map for things different, something out of the way, something different. And across from Prairie Creek Boat Dock, there was a cove. And I went down the bank, and I was looking, and I looked, in that cove, and I saw something. I said, "What is that?" And I idled up in that cove, and it was a road bed coming down. When you got at the right angle, you could tell very easy what it was. You had to be at the right angle. If you just looked through the trees, you wouldn't see it. You had to be right at the right angle.
Okay.
But if you looked, you could look right through the trees and see this road bed coming right down through off that hill, right through those trees. Just perfect. It was a road bed. But it didn't come out on the other side. It went on out, straight on out in the lake. And I said, that's something different.
Sure is.
And I said, And so I was fishing a particular worm at that time. I'd learned how to fish slip sinker worms. And so I just took the worm. And he said, when you find fish, don't try to catch them. Don't just catch you one, see maybe two, see how big they are. And then if you want to check them, go by and turn your hook. He showed me how to bend the hook where the fish could hit it and just pull down and pull the worm off the hook without hooking the fish.
Okay.
And I said, okay. So I took the worm and I had it dummy hooked and I threw up on that road bed. And as soon as the worm hit the bottom, in about 5 feet, I worked it there a little bit, nothing. And I threw back a couple of times, nothing. And I started leaving. I said, wait a minute. He said, you need to learn to fish deeper water. So I had a depth finder then, and I'm sitting in 35 feet of water. And I said, I never fished 35 feet of water in my life. I said 35 feet of water.
That's pretty deep, Bill.
Good night. If I really fish up 35 feet, you have the bends. I said, golly. So I said, I'm going to ease the boat in a little bit. So I made a long cast, and that worm went boom, 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 boom. I said, golly. And it hit the side of a tree, but I fed it line as it went down. And I said, good gosh. And by the time I counted about 17 feet. I said, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And I said, and it finally hit the bottom. It was 17 feet. And I said, golly Moses. And I said, I remember at Pickwick, he said, turn and throw the other way. And I said, 17. And I moved it and something went boom, boom. And I said, well, here. And I pulled back.
Said, there he is.
I felt the fish, the weight of the fish, and he pulled down on the fish. And I said, I wonder if that was a bass. And I reeled back. And I turned, I threw back again. It didn't get the worm. I threw back, and he pulled the rod. He pulled the tip down again. And I said, I got to find out. So I reeled in. I picked the rod up with a live hook on it, and I threw it. And he hit 3 straight casts. Boop, and I catch one about 2.5 pounds. A big, little, fat, chunky largemouth. And I said, good Lord. I said, that's 3 for 3.
You weren't supposed to catch all those.
And I said, well, I had 2 just pull the hook, the worm. One of them didn't pull the worm. One got the worm. And then I catch the next one. And I said, that's something out of the way. So then I started looking, and I remembered at Pickwick, after he told me something about a bluff. And so an irregular feature on a bluff that they had remembered. And so I ran to a bluff, and I started idling down this bluff, didn't see anything. There was where the channel swung across and hit another bluff. I idled down that bluff, and there was a ledge that came out 17 feet. And I got my boat right up against that bluff, and I fired a worm straight down that bluff, and it went down about 16, 17 feet. Boom. I caught a 2.5 pounder right on that 17 ledge where it dropped off to 45.
Look at you patterning it out.
And I thought, well, look here. This is something different.
Yeah.
And so I started looking around, and I was going around looking for road beds, and I was looking for bluffs with anything different. And then I saw a rock slide on a bluff. And I went over there, and I got out on it. And I called Glenn. And I said, I'm not asking you to show me anything. because I can't. It's against the rules. But I'm going to just ask you something. I'm going to tell you what I found, and you can tell me if that's good or not. I found a road bed in 17 feet. He said, good spot. And then I found a ledge in 17 on a bluff. He said, good spot. And then I found a slide. I found a slide on the bluff. He said, good spot.
Good spot.
He said, I'm not going to tell you. All I can tell you is find more. Find more. And I said, you reckon there's more? Oh, yeah. Just find more. And so the next day, I started looking, and I found 2 more road beds and 2 more bluffs. And the first day of the tournament, I was in first place. Second day, I was in first place. And the third day, Stan Sloan beat me out of first. I finished second in that tournament. But I'll never forget that find something different.
The first Bass Derb.
Look for something out of the way.
Beaver Lake.
But establish a depth pattern. But that kind of kick-started my career. And then right after that second place finish, Glenn started a organization called PSFA, the Professional Sport Fishing Association. And he held a tournament on Kentucky Lake. And I remember I went to that, and I finished second in that. Then I went to, Ray had his next tournament on Smith Lake in Alabama, Jasper, Alabama, which was a deep, deep clear lake.
Okay.
And real deep and real clear. And that's when I really got my a taste for real deep water fishing. I was coming down the lake, and I remember I went in a cove, and I was going to the back of it, and I was going to fish my way out of this one creek, because I just said this creek's got to have a lot of fish in it. And it had, at that time, it had more smallmouth than it did Kentucky's or spotted bass.
Interesting.
And so I fished my way out of it. I wasn't real happy with it. I found a few fish in it. And as I started out, I looked out toward the lake, and I saw a gull go down. And I sat there and watched the gull, and the gull went up the lake. And then he circled back and came back, and I watched him fly around a minute. And then another gull got with him, and then they went down in that same spot again. And I said, they're feeding on something out there. And so I sat there and watched a few minutes. And then I saw a bass hit. So I said, I'm going to go out. So I idled out there. And when I idled out there, all we had back in those days were flashers. And so when I got out there, out from the mouth of that creek, now Smith Lake's deep, and I looked at the flasher and I said, good gosh, look at all the fish. Look at all the fish right here. And I mean, I said, I've never seen so many fish. Well, how dumb I was. I said, so I put a spoon on.
Okay.
A half ounce Dixie Jet spoon, and I just flipped it right over the side of the boat, and so I let it go down, and it was 45 feet. I remember. And when it got down straight on the boat, I jigged it one time, and I hung it up. I said, "What is that?" And I shook it a few times, and I said, "That's a treetop. That's not fish." I said, "That's a treetop." And I said, but it looked like the flasher, the way the old flasher.
Yeah, the way it was all reading out, sure.
Yeah, and the lying gulls. I said, those gulls are liars. And I sat there a minute, and I said, but 45 feet in this clear water. I said, 17 feet shallow compared to 45. And I said, so I flipped the spoon out again, and a spoon's got a big enough O-ring on it. If you shake it, you can free it. You can free it. And so I dropped it over the side again, and I jigged it once, and boom, about a pound and a half of Kentucky hit it, and I caught him.
You'll take that.
And I said, look at this. And so I moved and I could keep the boat directly over this humongous tree. And this big tree was like in 80 feet of water and just towered straight up. And 45 feet tall, I guess. And so I flipped the spoon over again. I let it, and I just jigging it right beside the boat. Boom, another one hit it. And I catch him. He's about a pound and a half, pound and three-quarter pound spotted bass. And I said, look here. Well, back then we didn't have GPS. So the only way we could mark things was to take two 90-degree fixes and
spot
like
'em.
a line compass.
Yeah, line them up.
And mark. Yeah, and so we
Landmarkers.
So I had a line. Yeah, I had a line compass, so I shot a 90-degree this way, and I shot a 90-degree off that point that I came around, and it happened to be two behind that point across that creek. Happened to be two big oak trees or something. So I lined those two up just perfect off that point, and I looked straight up the lake, and there was a bridge, and I could see just the corner of the bridge off the left-hand side of the lake, and I took a 90 off of it, and right there was where that tree was. And all I had to do was take that line compass and run straight at that corner. And when I hit that point there, all I had to do was idle. I would take a straight shot on the other 90-degree fix, and I'd be right over the top of that tree. And so in the tournament at Smith Lake, I finished second there. So that year, the first tournament I had, the first three tournaments I fished, I had 3 seconds. And then Ray went to Rayburn, and I won Rayburn. And then we came back, as best I recall, we went to Ross Barnett, and I won Barnett.
You did. That was the Rebel Derb.
Yeah, the Rebel Invitational, I think is what he called it.
Yeah.
And then we went back to Smith Lake, and I won it. And then I had 3 seconds and 3 firsts, and I came home. Bagley called me and offered me a job, Jim Bagley.
Yes, sir.
And I had a job offer. This all happened in the first 10 days after that third win. And then Head and Lure Company offered me a job, Ken White.
Coming at you from every direction.
And then Nick Cream, the inventor of the plastic worm, he and Cosman in Tyler, Texas, offered me a job. Well, I accepted then. The first call was Jim. I accepted the job with Jim because I wanted so bad to go to work for a lure company.
Okay.
Well, when Nick called me, he wanted Diane and I to fly to Tyler, Texas, or fly to Shreveport, and they picked us up and took us back to Tyler, and we stayed with Nick and Cosma for 3 days. And Nick took me through the plant. He said, Bill, what I want you to do, I'm going to furnish you a company car of your choice. He doubled my salary. He said, I want you to continue to fish tournaments. I want you to fish with sports writers and talk about our products. I want you to fish with writers and talk about our products. I want you to fish with buyers and talk about our products, show them how to fish them. And I just want you to fish for our company. And I thought,
that's unreal.
Good night.
That's unreal.
This is a dream come true. And I called Bagley, and I said, Jim, and Jim had already sent me a check. And I said, Jim, look. And he totally understood. I said, what Cream has offered me, and they make worms, and 50% of the fish I catch a year are on worms. He said, Bill, take it. And he said, someday, he said, I understand. I can tell by your voice you want to go to work for Nick, and I understand. if something's going to happen one of these days, that you and I will get together, and don't you worry about it. We're buddies, and we'll always be buddies. You know, everybody. You know, Jim was, hey, buddy. You remember?
Yeah,
how he
of
always
course.
was,
He was everybody's pal. Yep.
Yeah, I love Jim Bagley,
Yes,
and
sir.
he said, I said, I'm going to send this check back to you. He said, I don't care if you keep it. I said, I'm not going to keep it because I'm going to mail it back to you. And, but I want you to know that you'll always have a special place in my heart. And I said,
Wow.
someday, and someday came. Someday came.
Sure did, didn't it?
And Jim was a major sponsor of Bill Dance Outdoors.
Yeah.
And Jim and we had more fun together, and Jim loved my wife, and my wife loved Jim, and we just had great times together.
I remember being in Jim's office, and he had a plug. It was a DB3 that that he made for you, and it said Roland Dance Signature Series on it.
You know, I went in there one time. I'll tell you, I went in there one time, and Jim, God love him. I went in there one time. I was doing some stuff over near Wauchula, and I walked in his office, and he says, hey pal, what's up? And he said, hey, I've got this great lake. He said, hey, it's just chock full of it. It just, and he was talking about.
I see. He gets all excited. Yeah, I remember.
The Mormon Ranch, you know.
Yeah.
He says, hey, listen, hey, we can catch so many big bass in that lake. He said, let me tell you something about that lake. That lake is, you like steak. And I said, yeah, I love steak. He said, there's a steakhouse not too far from here. Let me tell you, they cook the best. They marinate their steaks. Hey, have you seen Wayne? I said, no. He said, Wayne has designed this lure. You're going to love this lure. Hey, we have been playing with this lure, Bill. He said, this lure is just out of sight. Hey, how long have you been in Florida?
Bagley.
Have you seen Barry? I said,
Jim
Jim,
Bagley. Slow
down.
Yes.
Which question do you want me to answer? You've asked me 5 questions, and we're talking about 5 different things in the last 30 seconds. I don't even know which way I'm going. You know how he was. He would go.
Yeah, 100%.
He was over here, and he was over there, and he was over here, and he was over there.
Yeah.
I know it. And, he was just so funny. And he says, listen, I'm going to tell you something. It might hurt your feelings, but we're discontinuing the DB3. And I said, I looked at him like a cow looking at a new gate. And I said, what? You're discontinuing the DB3? He said, yeah. I said, you can't do that. And he said, why? He said, well, wait a minute. For special orders of 25 dozen or more, we'll make 25 dozen or more. But by and large, we're going to discontinue it. And I said, well, I'm going to put an order in right now for 25 dozen. What? You do? I said, yes. And if I can order 50 dozen, I'd like to order 50 dozen.
He got you.
What? Are you serious? And I said, yeah. And I said, I can't believe you're going to discontinue it because I've got a great smallmouth show that I shot on the Tennessee River on Pickwick Lake. They kill that bait. And then I've got a great show that I shot such and such place with it at I can't remember where it was. And I said, I've got 3 shows on the DB3. And one at Thousand Islands in New York and one someplace else.
I remember
and
him.
He said, well, I didn't know that. He said, well, get Wayne in here. So Wayne came in there.
Wayne Davis.
He said, look. Yeah, Wayne Davis. He said, Wayne, have you made an announcement yet? We're discontinuing the DB3. And he said, not yet, but I'm fixing it. Don't do that. And the next year, the DB3 was on the front cover of the catalog.
Sure was.
in
an LB4. It was a DB3 LB4. Remember that? That's little bass on white, Bill.
And he didn't discontinue it.
Nope.
He didn't.
That's amazing.
And the next year was on the front cover of the catalog.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And he sold. It was a great bait. God, it was a great bait.
It catches them, man. That DB3 and that was a real special time in bass fishing history. A lot of people may not know, Bill, you are a 3-time Bass Angler of the Year. 3 times. That's 70, 74, 77. You won 7 BASS tournaments. You were in a total of 78 derbs, and I think that's between 1967 and 1980. Now get this right here, Bill. Now I want Diane to hear this if she's around anywhere too. But get this now. You in your BASS career, you caught 2,433 pounds of bass. That's a lot of bass, right, Bill?
That's quite a few.
Yeah, 2,000.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 2,433 pounds of bass in your BASS career, and you won in your BASS career $57,134. Now let me tell you, that back in the day, those were a lot of one-day derbs and such, and you were only winning a couple grand at a time, Bill. I mean, back in those days. So here's the interesting fact. Now think about this in 1980 when you retired from Bassmaster, and at that time, at 2,433 pounds of bass, equaling $57,134. You know how much that was a pound of bass that you caught? You know, Bill?
No.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Or wait, someone's going to tell you.
Approximately $24.78. Approximately $24.78.
That was Matthew Maddox Robertson. And $24.78 a pound, Bill. What do you think about that? That's a lot. That's like,
gracious.
Yeah, that's pretty good back in 1980. Every bass you caught was $25 in your pocket. Every pound of bass. Pretty good.
That's real good. Yeah.
Not bad at all, man. You're so important.
I'm spending that much today to catch 1 pound of bass.
Way more than that we are. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
Bill, you were so
Absolutely.
important in tournament fishing in the Bass Nation, as well as designing baits, rods and reels and lures that we've used for years, man, for years. And I got to say that there's been some special baits over the years, and of course you mentioned that cream worm. You were synonymous with that for a while. Then it became the blueberry jelly worm. Tom Mann's bait. Remember when you were all about that blueberry jelly worm? Wow. And then the spin dance. Remember the spin dance, the little short arm drop spinner bait, Bill? You'd flip it all the time. You're always flipping that thing, remember?
Yeah, it was a good bait. I remember that.
Yeah,
I look back at some of those old baits. They'd still catch fish today.
100%.
We proved that with the jitterbug a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no
But
doubt. Why aren't you flipping like a spin dance?
The what?
Why don't you flip that,
The
Bill?
spin dance.
Yeah, the spin dance.
Yeah, that'd be a good bait.
Redo
to come
it.
back with.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how a 5-pound bass can know about baits that were discontinued, 15 years ago.
I know. They have no idea.
No, absolutely not.
You know what's a huge, important part of bass fishing lure history is the fat-free shad.
Yeah, they're still selling worlds of. In fact, we just did a blitz on those this past year. We took the whole family of Bruce Stanton with general manager of Pratco. He said, "I want you to take the whole family of fat-free shads and do a piece on them. And we're going to run them in." I think Bass Pro and in Walmart, I believe, in those two accounts. And,
that bait,
and
man.
Cabela's.
That's
We're going to talk about from the fingerling all the way up to the BD8 and the whole series and where's the best application and what they do and how they perform. So we took those baits, each one of them, and we talked about them. And we talked about how each one of them performs and how to fish each one of them. So those will be introduced. The bait won't be introduced because everybody knows about the bait.
Sure.
But the techniques on each one of them, the video will be introduced right after the first of the year on each one of those baits.
That's an
And
important
it'll be
plug.
under the bomber name.
Gotcha. And
The bomber catfish head.
that plug's one of your babies. I mean, you were very instrumental in bringing that to fruition. There's no doubt about that. That plug is important, and I think just about every proper bassing man and woman out there has caught a bass on a fat-free shad. You know what I mean?
Well, we just wanted a bait that would. Yeah, they sold. Oh my goodness, they sold tons of them. We wanted a bait that would with a straight lip that would dive vertically. That had a tight wiggle, that didn't have a lot of buoyancy from the standpoint that was hard for it to get down. And with straight lip, it dives straight as soon as you start to pull it. And we wanted one that didn't have a lot of resistance, and that's why we designed it with flatter sides. And then we designed it with kick-out points on both sides of the lip, where it would deflect off cover, if it hit something. And then we designed it in from the fingerling all the way up to the big BD8.
You know what I heard about that, Bill?
different.
Yeah, I heard that Lee Sisson was jealous when you designed that one. That's what I heard.
Oh, Lee! Oh, Lee! You can't argue with Lee's success. He designed a lot of great baits.
Oh goodness!
But we used to argue. Lee and I used to argue. Like in the Killer Bee and then the Killer series, he'd put a slanted lip. He always said, well, the slanted lip will run deeper than the straight lip. I said, you're crazy. He said, no, I'm not. We'd always argue about
back and forth.
In the Bagley baits, the angle lip would run deeper than the straight lip. I said hey, when pigs fly, we'd argue about that.
He's a good dude.
Lee, he's a great guy. I see Lee at tackle shows and stuff.
Sure. I just did a show with him not too long ago on the Bass University. It was pretty fun, I tell you.
Oh yeah, Lee's a great guy.
100%.
And knows a whole lot about designing lures. He's a neat guy.
He's a plugger. There's no doubt. Hey, I got to ask you this, Bill, because I want to talk a little before we move on to the last segment of our show here. It's you're very instrumental in rod and reel design, and I think that a lot of people in the history of bass fishing may not know about or overlook. Like back in the day, of course, everybody was throwing the there's kind of an evolution that I see of Bill Dance as far as rods and reels. You were throwing the old round reels back in the day, and then you went to the Daiwa Revolution, and then the Quantum, and then finally with the Bass Pro mix and Zebco and all that. But like back in the day, in that Daiwa era, you were like, there was a force of some badass fishermen in that on that Daiwa team. It was you and Ricky Clunn and Denny, and I mean, wow, that's big stuff back then.
Yeah, the Daiwa had a good team of fishermen. I do remember that, and they had a big shakeup, as best I recall, and I remember the one thing I always admired about Daiwa. They would send their engineers over here a year in advance from Japan, and they would bring their products a year in advance, what they were going to introduce. In other words, example, if they were going to introduce a product, say in 22, they would bring that reel. They would probably have brought that reel over here in 2019 for us to play with it.
Wow.
And try to tear it up.
Workhorses. They wanted you to beat the snot out of it.
Yeah, they said, look, tell us about the reel. Tell us what you like about it, what you don't like about it. And I respected that because tell us about the drag system. Tell us about the pinion gear. Tell us about all the features, the palming plate, the drag, everything, just every little thing you like about the weight of the reel.
Yeah.
How the reel performs, how the feel under a load, how the feel, and both in spinning, both in bait casting.
Hands on.
And so we would play with the reel, and then they would leave us samples, and then they would notify you a short time after that, and they'd say, "Okay, what did you find out with the model A, the reel marked A?" Well, I found out that the reel gets loud with excessive amount of use, blah, 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 blah. And that was with the pinion gear. You notice more sound with the pinion gear. It's brass. You need to change that. Okay. But what about B reel? What did you notice about it? What did you notice about C reel? And then we would compare that. Okay, send these reels back to us to evaluate. And we would take that product and we would evaluate. We'd try to tear it up. We'd fish it hard. We'd put it under stress. We'd throw big crankbaits with it. We'd jerk on it, pull on it, bend it, jerk it, bang it around.
Yeah.
And just beat it up and give it a hard test. And it wasn't just that. And then when they finally marketed it, they had a good product. So in 22, for example, like in 22 when they introduced it, they'd had all the bugs worked out of it,
ready to go,
and it just went. Yeah, it went straight through.
Ready
and
to
I'll
rip.
tell you, somebody else that used to do that was Strin used to do that. They would send me. They'd send me product, and they'd send me a spool of line, like A, 250 yards of A, and 250 yards of B. And they said, evaluate this line. And I said, okay. So I'd take it, and the castability of the line, the knot strength in the line, I'd do everything. I got a hickory nut tree right out here beside my house, outside my garage.
Okay.
And I'd take that line and I'd put it over one little limb. There's one little old limb that comes off that hickory nut tree, and the hickory nut's strong as 100 acres of fresh cut garlic. And I'd take that line and I'd rub that line up and down. That just like you use dental floss.
Yeah.
You know how you get dental floss?
I
You go
sure do.
you know, between your teeth. I'd get that line and go on that hickory nut tree, on that limb, and then I'd look at that line to see the abrasion resistance on it. Then I'd tie a knot in it and try to jerk it and break it. And then I'd evaluate that, and so I'd mark Strin A. This test proved, this test proves, this test proved. No knot strength. I'd tie knots in it and try to break the knot, and so I worked with that line for a month, and I'd make all these notes: A and B, A and B, A and B, and I said B, and finally the guy that I was working the test with, the engineer, and his big boss at DuPont, they called me and they said, have you evaluated the two lines? And I said, yes. And he said, we'd like to know what your thoughts are with A spool, with spool marked A. And I said, the knot strength is, if you've got great knot strength and a great abrasion resistance, I can live with any other properties. If I've got a line that's got great abrasion resistance and great knot strength,
okay,
I'm happy. I'm just happy as that rabbit in the lettuce patch. I'm I'm happy as I can be.
That's the one.
Now, that's it. And they said, okay, what about B? I said, let me tell you, I have put B through the test, and when I send you my report, they're going to look the same. They're going to look the same. And I'm going to just tell you right now, if I didn't know any better, I would think A and B are the same. And the guy says, Bill, thank you. They are.
You can't fool Bill
And
Dance.
I said,
You can't fool
"Let
Bill
me tell you
Dance.
something. If you was here, I'd take a flipping stick and break it over your head." He started laughing, and he said, "We just wanted to see if our valuation was the same, and the only way we could tell." He said, "They are. It's the same line." I said, "You dog." I said, "You won't believe how much I said, I just tried and I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried. I even left them out in the sun, tried to ruin them and put them back on, and it was the same." But the thing, my point is, there was companies that would take the time and do that to evaluate. We just finished with a series of rods for a Bass Pro Shop in Cabela's.
Okay.
And they sent the samples. They sent us samples, and I looked at them, and 6 or 7 of them. There were 12 of them, 12 rods that we had 12 Bill Dance rods we were coming out with for Bass Pro and Cabela's.
Okay.
And I didn't like 6 of them or 7 of them. And I told them the ones.
Put them in the fan.
And they said, "Okay, what's wrong with them?" And I told them what I thought. And so I sent them back, and they replaced the actions. And then one of the guys at Quantum, director of marketing, who is a very, very good fisherman, both fresh and saltwater, he said, "Can I come over and spend a couple of 2 or 3 days with you, and let's fish panfish and let's fish bass?" And it's too early for catfish, but I know we duplicated the best catfish rod that Quantum ever had.
Really?
And they duplicated it to a T. And he said, "I know what that rod will do." And I said, "It's perfect." So he and I went and spent a day and a half bass fishing with those rods, and then we went bluegill fishing, and then one day we went crappie fishing, and we designed what we thought was the best series and best actions in a price point and actions and design in an IM6 graphite rod with quality guides.
Nice. And that's a Bill Dance signature? Right? Okay.
Yeah, that's in Bass Pro and Cabela's now.
Nice.
And it's doing real well. So, but the thing was, we tested it. We tested the rod. We put the rod under a tremendous amount of abuse, and we came out with what we felt like for the dollar in that price range. It worked perfect.
There it is.
In fact, I took the medium and medium heavy and caught 30 to 50 pound tarpon on it.
Oh, really? Just for the heck of it?
About 3 weeks ago.
I like that you're still messing with this stuff, Bill. I like that you still put it to the test, man. I think that's. I do.
I really do. I don't want to put my name on something that I don't think is worth it. The worst thing in the world is, a man, his name is the most important thing he possesses. I learned that in a Dale Carnegie course one time.
100%.
And if I say something is good, I want somebody that buys it says it is good. Now, sure, you make mistakes, but they're honest mistakes. But it's
I like that
this line of rod.
Yeah, I like that you joined
ahead.
us too, Bill, back on the Berkeley Trilene team, throwing the Trilene string. It's good to have you.
Oh yeah, I'm fishing Strand. I'm fishing Strand now, and I'm fishing Berkeley.
Yes, sir.
Pure fishing stuff. In fact,
Yeah.
I just talked to Pure Fishing yesterday. What is today?
Today's
Today's
Wednesday.
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 Thursday?
Yes, sir. Today's Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to
Bill Dance
talked
Day.
to. Yeah, I've got to do 8 or 10 video clips for Pure Fishing on Strand and XL and XC line.
They told me. They told me that today, actually, when I was talking to them, and they're very happy to have you back. And you know, one of the best things about Bill Dance Outdoors, and I think everybody remembers and loves this, whenever you hook a biggin, how whoever your producer was, they had that microphone right by that string, so you just hear it going ding, 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 every time, and you know that you had a biggin when that happened, Bill. You know you had a big.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Hey, I wanna.
I appreciate it.
Man, I want to get to the last part of our deal here. I know you got a bunch going on,
Sure.
and I want to do a little rapid fire section with you. Are you ready?
Sure.
And I want to kind of.
Yeah.
I want you to kind of to think of the what the first thing that comes to your brain, and how we always do this. Yeah, be careful, Bill. Be careful.
I don't know how good this is gonna be, but I'll try.
Be careful. Now, what's your favorite? Let's go to a restaurant together. Me and you. What's your favorite kind of food to eat?
I like Mexican food a lot, but my wife doesn't like me eating it.
Okay, well let's go.
But
I'll tell you what.
I like Mexican food a lot.
Well, let's go to a Mexican cantina and let's have a talk. You hear that, Bill? Got a little Mexican cantina music going on right now.
I hear it. Enchilada tortilla, taco chili, jalapeno.
Yes,
I hear
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Bill, let's get to know you like nobody else knows you right now in the Bass Galaxy. And
Okay.
And I got to ask you this. The first question that came in? This is from our viewers, by the way. What's a better lure?
Okay.
The helicopter lure or the dancing eel? The dancing eel or the helicopter lure?
Well, I'm not just saying this because I designed it, but I think the dancing eel. The reason I think the dancing eel is it represents a crankbait and it represents a worm.
Yeah, and what the heck
And
did
the
Roland
action-
do with the helicopter lure? That's not even anything.
Yeah, the helicopter lure. I used to laugh at Roland and kid with Roland. He promoted it, but when I throw a lure and the lure gets his foot caught in its mouth, you know how a lure sometimes the two hooks will get caught. I always say that when the back hook gets caught with the front hook, it's got its foot in its mouth.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Starts spinning, and I say, "Oh, there goes the helicopter lure." But I think the dancing eel had its place. We introduced it, and I say this with all honesty, and I give you my word, this is the honest to God's truth. We took the dancing eel when Keeper Bait Company, when we first designed it, and this with my right hand to heaven, I'm telling this is a God's honest to God truth. Dick Mahan will tell you, if anybody knows Dick Mahan, he was at Walmart at the time. We introduced the dancing eel at, I don't know if it was an ICAST or an AFTMA show, American Fishing Tackle Trade Show, but we went in there with a patch on our shoulders. It said, "I've got a secret lure."
Oh.
And that's the God's truth. And we sold, sight unseen, 1 million dancing eel lures.
Wow.
That is the
Congratulations on that. Oh, my goodness.
That's been a long, long time ago, but we did.
Bill, that's amazing history.
Well, that's the honest to God's truth.
Wow.
But the biggest buyer, that was at that time, I was with Walmart, and Walmart was the major sponsor, but they had hundreds and hundreds of stores, and they like you look at the buying power at that time, which Walmart had, but we had we sold 1 million of those lures, and that is the gospel truth if I ever told it. But and then the lure, it ran its course, like many lures do.
Sure.
And like many things in life do, they run their course and they just fade away. And then someday comes back years later and says, "Well, whatever happened to that? That was a great product. Whatever happened to it?" But and then I mentioned that lure to Bruce Stanton, who's a general manager, vice president of product at Pradco, they make Rebel, they make Cordell, they make Hidden, they make Yum, they make all these products, all these fishing lures. You see so many of these fishing lures. I said, they're one of my sponsors with Rebel and many of the products, many of the fishing lures you see me fish, along with Bass Pro's products. I said, why can't we reintroduce the dancing eel? And he said, "Bill, that bait hasn't been fished in 17 years. But if you think we can do something with it, let's try it." So we introduced it, and it sold like crazy.
Firecrackers.
But the
Boom.
second, oh yeah, it sold. The second introduction of it, it sold for about 2.5 years.
I bought one.
It sold like crazy again.
We all
But
bought
what
one.
Makes it so? Well, it's a good bait. It ran good. The action on it was good. And when I first designed it, I got thinking. I said, a crankbait is a high percentage bait, and a plastic worm is a high percentage bait. I used to see fish schooling. Sometimes I could throw a worm right out in the middle of it and just start swimming it, and boom,
boom,
they'd hit it. And so, anyway, I said, why not combine the two? And the way it would undulate through the water, it looked so natural. Looked like an eel.
I remember the
crankbait.
phosphate pit shows with that thing, Bill, when you would be throwing that thing in them phosphate pits, or I mean, goodness gracious, just big. In fact, we got one on the screen right now of it's probably like a 9 or an 11 with a dancing eel in its mouth. It's amazing. We caught so many fish on it. And then we made it in 3 sizes. We made it in a smaller size, a 6-inch version, and then we made it in a little bitty elver size, about the size of your index finger. Yeah,
and
tons of fish.
They all sold.
Tons of fish caught on that bait. Hey, I'm gonna move you on the rapid fire. Are you ready? Let's go back
I'm ready.
Let's go back to the restaurant. Come on, let's go back to the Mexican restaurant because your burrito's almost ready, Bill. Your burrito's almost ready. Hey, what's a movie that you watch over and over, Bill? What's one of your favorite movies of all time?
Oh, goodness gracious! A movie. I tell you a movie that I went to that I've never seen an audience do what this movie did. I went to see Forrest Gump.
Okay.
And when the movie was over, everybody in the movie they stood up and applauded.
They clapped for Forrest Gump because he's awesome.
Everybody in the audience, everybody in the movie house stood up and applauded
for Forrest Gump. Hey, Bill.
I think,
Bill, if someone was to play you in a movie, who would that actor be? Who would you choose to play you in the motion picture of your life?
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. I like that answer.
I like Kevin Costner.
Okay.
I really like him. I think he is just as cool as he is a cool dude.
All right. Hey, here we go. Now, no respect to Diane, but who was your first crush? Your first celebrity crush, Bill Dance? Who was your first celebrity crush?
When I was a little boy?
Or a teenager, a young man, young adult. I don't care. You pick it.
Oh, when I was little, you'd probably talk about people. They probably don't even know who you're talking about.
Well, try us. This is history.
I always thought Gina Lollobrigida was a beautiful woman.
Wow, that's just fun to say,
remember?
Gina Lollobrigida. Wow.
You remember her?
No, but I know she was like a 50s.
You remember? I'll tell you another one.
Okay.
I tell you, she was just I don't think she wasn't a beauty queen, but there was just something about her that it was just so sweet about her. Was Donna Reed.
Okay, way back in the day.
You remember? It's a Wonderful Life.
I
You
remember.
her?
Yeah, I know her from that movie. That's right, Donna Reed. And I know Gina Lola Brigida because my grandparents loved Gina Lola Brigida, and I thought it was fun to say as a kid. Gina Lola Brigida. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bill.
Donna Reed was just a. Go ahead.
What song makes you happy, Bill Dance? What's a song that makes Bill Dance happy?
Oh. It's a Wonderful World.
Okay, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey,
And there's a song by Tommy Edwards. I like "Please, Mr. Sun" by Tommy Edwards. That's a great song.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, you knew Jerry Reed well. I remember being at a sports show with you and Jerry Reed once, and
Oh, Jerry was a great guy.
well, an amazing dude. And did you ever get to hang out with Burt Reynolds with the Bandit? Did you ever get to?
No, I never met him.
Okay.
We shot commercials on his ranch, but we did several different commercials on his for a couple of our sponsors.
Gotcha.
But no, I never met him. No.
Hey, Bill.
I wish I had.
Yeah.
I think he was a cool dude.
I think you guys would have got along good. Like you'd have been besties. You'd have been hanging out with Jerry and Burt Reynolds. You know what I'm saying? That'd be pretty badass.
Reed was a lot of fun to be with. He was a super guy. It really was.
Man,
We did 6 or 8 shows together, and he was just he was a great guy. He really was.
100%. Hey, are you a superstitious guy, Bill? Do you believe in good luck charms? Are you superstitious, dude?
Oh, sometimes on certain things. Like I fished the other day, and a guy said, "All the cows are laying down." I said, "Well, good. Tell them to get up." And then I didn't pay any more attention to it. And then Diane, the other day, she was getting ready to get in the car, and she said, "Oh, look, there's a penny." I said, "Don't pick it up unless the head's up." And I just said, no, not really. I'm not
well,
superstitious. Sometimes I'll see a black cat. Sometimes I'll see a black cat.
I go the other way.
Honk the
I
horn,
turn around.
and I'll say, "Make him turn around." Yeah.
Hey.
But I'm talking like I am superstitious, but I'm really not.
Okay.
No.
I got you. Are you a spiritual person, Bill Dance? Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Well, absolutely I am.
Give me an example, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course I am. I hope all of us are.
Yeah, 100%.
We didn't get here by just somebody kicking over a rock.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
That's a great way to put it. We sure didn't get here from somebody kicking over a rock, man.
like a crawfish or a hellgrammite.
Yeah.
No,
like a small jaw knocking over a rock for a crawdad.
no. God put us here.
100% he did.
And
100% he
yes,
did.
sir, he did. Absolutely, he did.
Hey,
he put fish here for us to catch.
Yeah, that's right.
See what?
Thank God he did. Thank God he did. God did that.
Yeah. Thank you, God, that you did.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hey, what? I got to ask you this. Like, what's something that gets under your skin, like a pet peeve of Bill Dance, or what grinds your gears, Bill?
What gets under my skin?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Nothing.
I'm sure that everybody has things that get under their skin. It's just having to do things you don't like to do.
Yeah. Everybody.
And it's just, but it's maybe having to go somewhere you don't want to go, but it's just part of it's it's part of this business.
You just got to put the saddle on the horse and grease up the saddle soap. You know what I mean?
And hitch him up and go. Yeah, I know it. There's times you're just real tired and you burn out, but you just got to get up and go again. It's just little things like you're trying to get a particular show shot on a particular bait, and invariably the fish have gone on.
They don't want to cooperate
against that bait.
They got their own mind.
Yeah, they don't want it. They just don't want it, and you can't force feed them to eat it. And you've tried everything in your power to make them hit it, and it's just one of those things.
Well, the fish will grind your gears every time. That's a good answer. Hey, so I gotta leave you with this statement, Bill, and it's I think that you'll agree with me that this whole bass fishing experience is kind of surreal. If you look back at the whole history of bass fishing and your involvement in it, just what a blessing for anyone in the bass fishing industry to be able to make a living at this sport, and what a blessing it is for the joy that you particularly have shared with the entire bass galaxy. So with this, I ask you, Bill, as a closing question, where and I know this you don't got to get deep, but you can just kind of give me what you think about it. But where do you think bass fishing will be in 2040? In 2040, Bill, where do we see bass fishing?
Yeah. Well, you could have asked me that 20 years ago, and I couldn't have even begin to tell you where it would be today. Back when I started, 5 years after BASS started, I never dreamed it would be where it was.
Right.
And then when I saw the evolution, I should say, of equipment, and then 10 years after that, when I saw fishing rods as light as they were, as sensitive as they were, with fishing reels as compact as they were, as fast as they were, as quiet as they were, and then to look at hooks as sharp as they were, as light wired as they were, but as strong as they were, and then to look at the outboard industry, to look at
unreal,
our engines, how powerful they were, looking at four-stroke
crazy
age coming into play, and now and our boats, they were faster, they're stronger, they're safer, and now to come into play are our electronics.
Nuts.
Goodness gracious.
Nuts.
I don't need a line compass anymore.
You sure don't. You don't got to line up to that bridge on Pickwick.
No. It's just absolutely with Panoptics and with things that we have today. It's with our graphs or GPSs. It's just, you probably think in some ways, well, a fish ain't got a prayer. Well, they still got a bite.
Yeah,
but
make them bite.
It's I would never dream 10 years ago we'd be where we are today.
No way.
I really wouldn't.
It's crazy.
I wouldn't. I look at our trolling motors. Our trolling motors are phenomenal. But I run a trolling motor now that's whisper cry. It's just whisper. It's so quiet. It's unbelievable.
And the old motor guides
so
used to be like, when you turn them on, Bill, they used to be like.
Yeah. Hey, we shoot underwater. And my son shoots something. He said, I said, did you hear? He said, I heard you coming. But today the stealth. The stealth of it's the force. It's just so quiet. It's just and the our units. The I can show you stuff.
Unreal.
I can show you stuff on my graph. I can say, look, that's a catfish. He's 40 feet deep. Look. You can almost see the whiskers on him.
That's nuts.
Look at that tree. Look at the fish in that tree.
So I guess the future's now, Bill. I guess the future is now.
Well, the future is. It's. there's no telling where it'll be. There's no telling where it'll be.
Hey, Bill, all I know is that I had a heck of a time tonight, and I sure learned.
I've had a great time.
Man, I learned a lot about you. I hope that the Bass Fishing Galaxy learned more about you, and I just need to thank you sincerely.
No, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it.
Man, you're the dude. You're the dude to me. You're the one that got me going in this thing, and you're the one that got me to pedal my bike across town to watch cable television, to watch Bill dance. You're the one that got me bassing, and you're the one that started my bassing memories. So I thank you, Bill Dance, for everything you've done for me and the entire Bass Fishing Galaxy, sir.
Well, bless you, buddy. Bless you. I certainly appreciate that. Some mighty kind words, and I certainly appreciate it. You asked that question, about 2040. I just hope I'm around to see it.
Yeah, but, me too.
It's been a great ride this far.
Yeah.
It really has.
Bill, thanks again so much.
If I can ever do anything for you, please let me know.
100%, Bill, and thank you so much to your family for helping put this together, to Pamela and Bill Jr. And again, congratulations, Dr. William George Dance, I must say.
Well, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
and we'll see you soon out there. Let's go bassing. Let's go do some bassing, some proper bassing together.
Okay. I'd love to do that, buddy. Stay
All right.
in touch with me, and God bless you.
You
Thank
too.
you.
See you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, that is
Thank
Bill
you.
Dance right there. Yes. Woo! Wow. What do you think? Andy, what do you think of all that? Unreal. William George Dance. Dr. William George Dance. Hey, I promised you a surprise. If you want to stick around, this is going to be worth it. We're going to give away the power pole stuff. We're giving away the bite me stuff. And we got a special in-studio guest. You probably know who it is already. Don't go anywhere. Right back. Coming right back.
Minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff.
Step up your game. It has been said that professionals are only as good as the tools they work with, and Alpha Angler has developed the ultimate set of tools for you, the competitive angler. Alpha Angler custom rods, brought to fruition by the passion of master craftsman Jake Boomer and 2017 BASS Angler of the Year Brandon Palaniuk. Alpha Angler rods are custom made in the USA, designed and engineered to be perfect. Alpha Angler utilizes a very unconventional approach to making the very best bass rods, from drop shotting to flipping. Alpha Angler's focus is on building perfectly balanced tournament-grade bass rods at an affordable price. Join the Alphalution today and purchase direct at alphaangler.com. Step up your game. alphaangler.com. Welcome back. Here we are. Oh my gosh, the Bill Dance Aftershock is here. And ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you our special in-studio guest, Bassmaster Elite Series rookie, La Flama Blanca, Onum Fishing Matthew Robertson. Yes.
What's up, guys?
Welcome, Matthew. Welcome to the show.
Gonna be hard to follow up. I'll be like that.
That's all. I'll tell you what. I think you witnessed me just gazing into nowhere most of that interview because I was in awe.
Yeah, you're just like a schoolgirl.
I was crushing hard on Will George, You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that's my guy, Matt. Like, your guy is Jimmy Houston.
Yep.
Like, and I think in the proper Bassin' Men show coming up, like, you're the Jimmy Houston. And like, can I be the Bill Dance? I mean, because I fight the fish like Bill. You know that.
You fight the fish like Bill, but you can't cast like Bill. You've hit too many people past.
Just you.
You ain't
I've
getting
only
that.
hit you. I've only hit you.
That's enough.
And fighters kind of like Parker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Parker, Breyer.
Yeah, Brower, Parker kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, those three ought to get together and make an episode for us.
I
A back in time episode.
Gotta get back in time. Matt, welcome to Hammond, Indiana, in the Stray Cast Studios.
Yeah, nice to be
This
here.
is your
bud.
second time in town.
Yeah.
At the store. Or no, we did a show from the Tin Cup liquor store.
Yeah.
The last time you were here.
Rishi's.
Yeah, Rishi's place. Yes, sir. The Cask in the Cellar.
Nice
It's the
place.
cask in the cellar and the Luke Foley. Whiskey, gypsy, tin cup, word is dance, drink. Right?
That's right.
Hey, what a fun show. I hope that the Bass Galaxy enjoyed a little bit of history there because, let's face it, when Bill starts talking, you just let him go and talk. Like, that felt, if you look right over there, Matthew, I know that your grandfather was very important to you in Bassin', and that's a picture of my grandpa Paul over there underneath that Bagley patch. And, like, Grandpa Paul was a big Bill Dance fan, and it reminded me of talking to Grandpa Paul today.
Yeah, well, you don't get that many times to listen to Bill Dance talk like that. So whenever you do get the opportunity, you sit back, shut up, and listen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you go. And I almost felt guilty when I would have to interrupt him.
Yeah.
I really did. It's like, because I
You
didn't.
should.
I know.
That's rude.
Thanks, Matt.
He's sitting there and pondering on old memories, giving us that opportunity, and you're like, shut up, Bill.
No, I did not say
know.
that. I did not say that. Matt, you got a big deal. You got the last two events of the year. You're going north. You're a Kentucky boy.
I got one more big deal first, though. Me fighter's going fishing tomorrow, and he said he's going to whoop me, so I got to
Well, look over your right shoulder, and you can see in the camera there. There's Lord Fighter right there. And
He's about to lose his fucking throne tomorrow. I'm taking him down on the smallmouth. Sorry, Andy.
So you and
show,
Fighter
bud.
got a bet going tomorrow.
Yeah.
What's the bet?
Well, he tried to put too high stakes on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I told him we'd go for 500.
Okay.
And,
500.
he
Smallmouth
says,
King.
Yeah, he said he done got greedy. He said that's not enough to get him excited.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
really?
What a baller.
Yeah, I gotta go to his home ponds, fish for smallies, and the man won't even. Yeah, I'm telling you. Is that him texting you?
No,
right
no,
now?
it's actually Pamela Dance
Oh, okay.
texting me right now. But I'm surprised. I wish
I'm about
Seth
to
was
light
up.
him up.
Like, is Seth up? Can we?
He's probably in bed.
Yeah, he's sleeping already. He's got Northern Swing on his mind, and he's got a few things going on.
Oh yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yep.
But you guys are going small, John. You're heading
Yep.
north. Big Derb tomorrow with Fighter. It's
Yep.
Robertson versus Fighter. All no holds bar. 500 bones.
It's not even a competition.
Oh, no,
I mean,
it's a
he's
competition.
Getting smoked
Okay.
out of his own boat.
Wow. You're going in his boat. His boat.
He's getting smoked.
And you got spin poles and everything.
Yeah, I got them things out there. I'm gonna have to, he's gonna have to tie on a couple baits for me though.
Hey Matt, speaking of Seth Fighter, you, Seth, and I have a thing going on Sunday. And we've been working on this for quite a while.
Yep.
And it's finally gonna happen. And it's the premiere of The Proper Bassin' Men. Sunday night, 7 Central. On the Facebook. On the Proper Bassin' Men Facebook. The real Proper Bassin' Men Facebook. How do you feel about this, Matt? We got it. Finally, our show's coming out.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about it. You know, it's weird because you know, I've looked forward to other shows coming out and stuff. You find out about them, you look forward to it, but man, like, we've been working hard on this for a while now, you know, and yeah, man, it's fine. It's good to finally give it to the fans.
Yeah,
So,
man, and Overstreet is the host of this. He will
Yep,
be.
he's the man.
Basically the narrator. Eric Guaranino, Eric something Italian, as you
it's
call
Eric
him.
Italian name in my phone.
Eric Italian name from Uncle Larry
Last
Outdoors.
name's videographer.
Follow Uncle Larry Outdoors on Instagram. And I mean, we got this thing going, dude, and it's the first episode. The title of it is called "Don't Spill the Beans, Cause and Effect," and you'll know why it's called that when you see it. But
Why is it called that?
we can't tell them. It's a whole episode premise. Andrew Ellenberger is the engineer for the deal. Of course, we bring the chief engineer over.
Absolutely.
He's going to be putting it. And get this, not everyone knows this because it kind of just happened, but of course, every Sunday night at 7 p.m., you'll be able to watch some Adventures of the Proper Bassin Men. But also, get this, if your Monday sucks, it will also be available on Instagram on Monday at lunchtime. At lunch, at 12 noon. So cheer up your Monday.
Yeah, I remember what the 40-hour, sucky 40-hour week job's like.
You
so,
remember what the sucky 80-hour job
yeah,
was,
80
man.
hours.
Believe
week,
me,
man.
that was normal for you.
I'll take some. I'll take some entertainment, 5-10 minutes entertainment during a Monday for sure.
I remember a Bass Nation Opens angler that was working 80 hours a week and fishing tournaments not too long ago, Matt Robertson.
Buddy, I ain't forgotten. I won't never forget, I promise.
But anyway, The Adventures of the Proper Bassin Man with Matthew Robertson, Seth Fighter, and myself premieres Sunday at 7 p.m. Central exclusively on Facebook and Instagram, not on YouTube. And it's not on YouTube. But guess what? You know how cool Matt Robertson is? He's giving away. Tell him what you're doing, Matt. Tell him what's going on.
We're in celebration of
what?
I said
the
it's
proper-
9 now because I'm going to take one out.
Oh,
we're giving away 9 hats. It's not a rigged winning. Andy won.
Yeah, sure.
No, we're getting celebration of the Proper Bassin Man coming out. We're going to give away 10 on them, 10 cup whiskey hats, man, the blue and white ones. Man, a lot of people's wanting them. I'm
Dude, blown up.
actually overwhelmed, and it's kind of humbling to see everybody wanting them and everything, and we appreciate it. And I got to be honest with you, I've thought about it on the way up here. I think probably going to give 15 of them away instead
Giving
of 10.
away 15?
Yeah, we're going to give away
Everybody gets an on-'em hat. You get an on-'em hat. You get an on-'em hat. You get an on-'em hat.
Yeah, you know.
10 cup on-'em hats.
Yeah,
10
the
cup.
fans want them. We're going to give it to them. So
Heck
we're going to give away a few more. Give it, people some more opportunity. We might give them away tomorrow night, Friday morning, something like that.
So go to the Proper Bassin Man Facebook page. Like the page, follow the page, and share the post. And Matt's going to pick 15 winners. When are you going to pick them? Like Sunday, that day, or on 4th of July? Or what are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing?
Man, I may pick them Friday.
Friday? Okay.
Friday.
Gotcha. Okay. In 15 limited edition tin cup on 'em hats. There it is. Matthew Robertson and Seth Fighter are your two tin cup pro fishing members on the Bassmaster Elite Series. So you're both doing swell this year.
Well, Fighter's doing swell. I'm doing okay.
You're on the you're a bubble boy.
I'm a bubble boy.
You're a bubble boy for the classic.
Yeah.
But you got 2 derps.
We're gonna handle that
So
stuff in the next 2
here's what I'm
weeks.
gonna tell you. Go learn some shit from Fighter tomorrow.
No, tomorrow's a teaching lesson. It's time to knock him back a step or two. That AOI is getting to his head.
Oh wow. Wow.
I'm just kidding. It's not.
Oh,
I had to talk a little trash. though.
You guys are gonna fight tomorrow.
He probably will if he hears this.
Oh yeah, he's gonna swing at you.
I hope he's sleeping. I'm enjoying talking all this trash about him, and he can't even defend himself.
I don't know. I think he would have texted us by now if he was up. I know he's leaving super early.
Yeah.
Wait, 15 missed texts. Seth Fighter. Whoops.
That don't matter.
Hey, Matt, but seriously, you're on the show every week now. We had a good time last week.
Yeah, I heard there's a position open now. You ain't had a co-host the last 3 weeks, so I figure I'm going to start driving up here every Wednesday and sitting in this stool. You got to get me a better chair, man. I'm a fat boy, and this hardwood stool has got my butt flatter than a pancake, son. I'm going to tell you something. You got to get me some cushion over here.
We got to get you some cushion for the cushion.
I was standing up, and Andy's like, You all right, dude? I said, dude, my butt is hurting.
Fell asleep.
It did. I couldn't feel my legs.
Hey, let's give away the Power Pole Fun Pouch. You're sponsored by Power Pole.
Yep.
And they're giving away. You hear Bill and no, that was that's Jimmy. He's chunking in a wine, and that's your guy. Yeah.
I can't even talk to Jimmy.
You get all choked up.
I do. I can't even talk.
Clammy. You get clammy.
Couldn't have done the show like you did with Dance.
You get clammy.
What we got, Andy?
All right, so you're giving away a Power Pole deal, and then Andy, you give away Brad's Bite Me package.
That top name.
Read that, Matt.
Got it?
Eddie Dean.
Eddie Dean.
Mr. Dean Eddie.
No suspense in that one.
Eddie Dean.
I thought you said you was fast.
He
Andy.
Standing up.
He's like, I was complimenting him earlier. Hey, Andy, dude, you're pretty good, man. How do you do it? You got to be fast.
Not that fast.
Eddie Dean, you won a $50 fun bag from Power Pole, Kurt Hill, and Bill Dance. You just have to send Jake Haas, direct message him on the Straycast Facebook page, and Jake will get your information to Power Pole, and they'll send that out. Also, another chance on the like and share contest. Holy Shnikes. Andrew Illenberger, the Ginger Ninjas, one of his favorite sponsors, advertising partners of ours, is Bite Me Tackle. And I just like saying Bite Me. So, Andy, who is the winner of the $50 Bite Me Bingo Wango Tango pack?
Timothy P. Vatterott.
Timothy P. Vatterott. Yeah, my
see?
face. Timothy P. Vatterott. Timothy B. Vatterott.
I'm not even attempting it.
He is a fan.
Good job, Timothy.
Hey, you won, bud. All you got to do is direct message Jake Haas. Timothy, say it one more time.
P. Vatterott.
Timothy P. Vatterott.
There you go.
Timothy
I believe. I
P.
don't know. If
Vatterott.
not, you'll figure it out.
Hey, real quick, gonna run this down, and then Matt, I would like to close.
Don't ask me to close the show.
No. I'm gonna close
okay.
the show, but I would like you to please walk over to leave your chair, and I want to close the show with just a camera shot of your real, authentic bass tattoo. Andy, what camera does he need to put that tattoo in?
That one right there.
Hold on. Let me pump it up.
Yeah,
It's like Air
get
Jordan.
fluff it. Fluff
It's
it
like
first.
the old Air Jordans. I got to pump it up for
Yeah,
the ladies.
fluff it before you get on camera. It'll make you look better. Ladies and gentlemen,
This camera?
yeah,
That
that
blue one.
camera right there. Don't knock it over, but get that tattoo right up on there. That is a real bass.
Down right
off.
there, right? Up a little?
Up a little.
Right
That
there.
is a real Bass Angler Sportsman Society tattoo. Matthew Robertson had that embedded on him for life. And that is badass. That is
Go down a little.
the real deal.
Boom.
As you see, Matt has his lucky UK cut-off shirt. Matt, thanks for coming in tonight. You know how awesome that tattoo is, right? Not just because you're my bud, but that's pretty fluffy, bud. Pretty fluffy. Thank you, Crestliner. Thank you, Omnia. Thank you, Tin Cup. Power Pole Sims, TH, Empire covers half a spot. Abu Berkeley, Alpha, Line and Lure Family, War Eagle, Bravarni, Outcast, Amphibia, Dakotia, Lithium, and Bite Me Tackle. Hey, Bass Galaxy, Pat Renwick, Andrew Ellenberger, and Matthew Robertson's BASS member tattoo. Matthew Robertson's member. We say good night and thank you. We bid you well. See you next week. Same bass time, same bass channel. Peace.